everyone? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm Denise Salcedo, and oh my God, I am in such a good mood right now. Like, I really, truly feel like nothing can bring me down as of this moment right now. Guys, we have people. People are officially back on at WWE events. We have an actual crowd, and we had a pretty decent show today. I would even probably say a little bit more so than decent. We had a pretty darn good show today. In fact, SmackDown, this 2-hour show that we see every week, honestly felt like 45 minutes to an hour today. Things felt very, very different, and we have so much to get into. I cannot wait to talk about SmackDown here today, guys. But before we get started, I want to welcome you all here. For those of you who are new to the channel, just a friendly reminder, make sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you are new to my stream and you do not know, this is a very, very interactive show. So I do not only just talk up a storm, but I also make sure to read some of your guys' thoughts, your comments throughout the entire show. And I do run through things in a chronological fashion, which makes it just so much easier to talk about everything that went down. And if you want to make sure your comment gets read on the air, you can send in a super chat. If you send in a super chat, I will make sure to read your comments here on the stream. All right, so here we go. We're actually going to kick things off with our first super chat of the day, and it is from Adam Blamplate. Thank you so much to Adam Blamplate, who says, fans make SmackDown so much more watchable. Great show. Fans have been making things so much better. Obviously, we've been talking about AEW. They've been back with fans for a little bit longer now than WWE, but the point is that the shows have been great. So everybody was wondering, well, is it going to have the exact same impact with WWE? Are they going to kill the crowd? What is going to happen? A lot of people had a lot of different theories on how the show was going to go down here tonight, but I got to say that today's show took 2 thumbs up because they did a lot of different stuff today in terms of we had a couple of surprises, and they actually felt like they put effort in adding life to the show, especially with the opening segment. Just overall throughout the entire show, you felt excited about what you were watching. Dare I say, ladies and gentlemen, it felt cool to watch WWE today. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, what are you talking about, Denise? But a lot of people I feel sometimes made it like, because we haven't necessarily been crazy about everything that has been presented on the show. I've been on here talking about how we've been seeing lots of repeats of things, lots of repeat matches, stuff that isn't new. And yet here today, we are starting to see this. We're starting to see that they're heading in a different direction. And my honest to God hope, is that they continue this momentum, not just for every SmackDown, but also for Monday Night Raw. Like I said, today's SmackDown felt very, very short and entertaining. I hope that they do that with Raw, and I hope that this doesn't just last a couple of weeks, a couple of months, that they keep that momentum building, because based off what we saw tonight, we obviously know they have the power to do that. So thank you so much to Adam Blamplate for kicking us off with our first super chat. And we actually have another one. This is a super chat from Connecting People Through Wrestling, who says, I will be at Money in the Bank, hoping for some more surprises. Obviously, Money in the Bank is taking place this Sunday, and, they have already announced 7 matches. And for the most part, you look at the card, you're pretty excited about it. You have the Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley match. Yeah, the build necessarily hasn't been all that great, but it's still going to be a fun match. You have Roman Reigns, Edge, which is going to be good. You have both the men's and the women's Money in the Bank matches, which are always fun. So I was already looking forward to Money in the Bank, but now I think, based off the fact that it's just we've already known there was going to be people at Money in the Bank, but just given what we saw here today, it kind of made you more excited. At least for me, I feel way more excited heading into Money in the Bank. So thank you so much to Connecting People Through Wrestling for sending this comment. And honestly, I'm seeing everybody here that I think for the most part, everybody here in the comment section kind of felt like it was a pretty good show. I'm going to read a couple of your thoughts about the show overall. If you have any anything interesting you want to add, feel free to send it in. I'm going to get a comment from Dalen who says that the show was so awesome. Great to have fans back, and so much great stuff occurred tonight. We have a comment from Patrick who says, you could tell WWE was trying to get casual fans because they kept showing vignettes for a lot of the guys like Otis and Cesaro, and I think that's a good idea. And I might as well mention this now, since Patrick did mention this in the comment section just now, is that we were seeing more. One of the issues with Raw and SmackDown, in the past several months is that they would do so many so many video packages to the point where it was kind of getting a little irritating. Like, you would have somebody come out into the ring and then they would say something and it would cut to a video package. But this time they obviously lessened that a whole lot more. And that was expected, given that they actually want to show that people are there. But this time they have incorporated it more so into the entrances. So instead of having to, get out of the live element, they are posting up whatever little clips they want to show up on that, that silver gray graphic up on the screen, the 3D graphic. So it definitely makes for a more exciting vibe to do that, instead of always having to cut back to the actual videos that they were trying to show. That used to take a lot away from the show. And this time they found a way to incorporate it without having to take away from the actual show. So I was definitely a fan of that for sure. And let's see what else we got here. Matthew says, didn't watch SmackDown, but I'm here for your review. Thank you so much. I know a lot of people sometimes skip the shows and just come into the reviews. Trust me, I know that. I used to do that back in the day, but we're going to go ahead and talk about everything. But before we do, we have a super chat from Ray. Oh, thank you so much to Ray, who says, any thoughts on the crowd reactions for the likes of Roman and Bianca? Oh, my man, we are definitely going to get into crowd reactions today, because that was one of the things that, heading into having crowds back, a lot of us did not know what the crowd reactions were going to be for certain people. And I even think that some people at the actual event were kind of like, well, what should we do? Like, what should we cheer here? Because as we all know, for most of us that are in this social media bubble, especially, like Twitter, for example, I think sometimes we all expect a certain reaction, or we all expect the fans to essentially be on the same page. But then, once we see the live crowd, they all got a mind, of their own. So it is very interesting to see who got cheered today, who got booed today, and who absolutely did not get any reactions. And we knew heading into this show that was going to be a major discussion, and we will get into that as well. So let's actually kick things off with the opening of the show. A lot of people were wondering, who is going to be the first person to come out? Who is it going to be? I think for the most part, many of us would have guessed Roman Reigns, would have guessed Edge. Whatever your opinion or your guess was, it ended up being Vince McMahon. And so Vince McMahon's music hits, and I'm thinking, all right, here we go. This show, every time, Vince comes out, it's going to be... it's going to be something a little bit more than what you're used to getting. Obviously, he came out during WrestleMania and had all the speech with the superstars and all of that. This time, it was a lot more different, though. So Vince McMahon comes out, and to be honest, I'm expecting this long speech. I'm expecting we missed you, WWE Universe, or I don't know what I was expecting, but Vince McMahon kind of swerves us here a little bit and gives us a very, a little tease. And he just comes out and he says, where the hell have you been? And that was a terrible Vince McMahon impression, but he essentially says, where the hell have you been? And I'm writing this down on my notes, and I'm ready to start transcribing everything he's saying verbatim. And then all of a sudden, that is it. That is all Vince McMahon says. And he goes to the back. And that's pretty much what kicked off the show. So honestly, I kind of like that they didn't do this whole big, oh my God, thank you so much for coming back, because it set the tone for the show. It was a very quick appearance from Vince McMahon, and bam, we're moving on to the next thing. And that is the thing that I think makes shows more enjoyable, is when they move at a faster pace. And that is something that, has obviously been of discussion with previous shows thus far. We have a super chat from Khaled Adam, who says, hi, Hollywood, thoughts on the women's title match? Thank you so much, Khaled. We will definitely get to that. As you guys know, I do run through the show in order, so we will talk about the women's match shortly. I appreciate you sending in a super chat. We also have another super chat from Taylor Cannon. Thank you so much to Taylor, who says, so glad to see and hear fans back in the building. Taylor, I feel that we all are on the exact same page right now because the vibe of the show, and even just like I feel it in myself. So like I'm coming on to this show and I feel excited to talk about what we saw today. Like that's a good thing, you know, as somebody that talks and covers pretty much every single show. I don't want to come on here and essentially be all sour and like, oh, well, this happened and that happened and blah, you know, but no, like this time, like I genuinely feel excited to talk about what we're seeing, you know, on SmackDown. And not only that, so, you know, as somebody that's always, you know, very active on social media, I like to be aware of, you know, what people are watching, what people are saying, etc., because you do learn a lot by, you know, seeing people's habits on social media and what they're doing. I can always tell how a show is going to kind of do, obviously based on interactions with fans, interactions with the comments, interactions with retweets and likes and all of that. I will tell you that I have not had a SmackDown in a very long time that had as much social engagement as the one that we had here today. Usually like SmackDown, like usually Raw, for WWE, usually Raw is obviously like the night where I notice the most social interactions. And then overall for the week, I usually get the most social interactions with AEW. But SmackDown, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm doing something else on Friday night. And this time I kind of noticed a lot more social interaction for SmackDown. So just in general, I think the mood and the vibe for the show was definitely hyped up, was definitely amped up. So thank you so much to Taylor Cannon for sending in this super chat. And I have a lot of people here saying that they think apparently my Vince McMahon impression was terrible. It was, by the way. I apologize. But let's go ahead and move on, because after this, we opened up the show after Vince McMahon with the 6-man tag match, which was Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, and the Usos versus Rey Mysterio, Dominic, and Edge. And this is where we kind of start talking about crowd reactions. A lot of people were curious as to how the crowd was going to react to Roman Reigns. Like, in one sense, you know, you have Roman Reigns, who is doing the best heel work ever, right? Like, this is the Roman Reigns we have all been waiting for. Like, for the most part, everybody seems to like Roman Reigns and what he's doing right now. But obviously, he is a heel. So I think a lot of people were wondering, like, is he going to get massively booed? Is he going to get cheered? Like, what is the situation here? I kind of feel like the audience over in Texas, I almost feel like they kind of too were like not really sure how to react to Roman Reigns, because when Roman Reigns came out, you had, I would say maybe like, I don't know, like 60%. I'm not really sure exactly on the percentage here, but we had a big chunk of people that were obviously booing because they're like, okay, he's a heel, so we know to boo him. But then you have people that are like, I don't care that he's a heel. He's so awesome and I love him, so I'm going to go ahead and cheer. So we did kind of have a mixed reaction for Roman Reigns, okay? And then but it was still a loud reaction, okay? Whether it was boos, whether it was a mixture of boos and cheers, it was still a very, very loud reaction. Then one of my favorite things when Roman Reigns came out, and this was just a couple of seconds, but it felt very, very meaningful. And I'm glad that he took the time to do this. And obviously he was, but he comes out and he just takes a second to like really soak in the crowd in a way where it's not like, ooh, I'm so glad to be here, but more so in a way of, you have no idea what is coming to you, you know, from the head of the table. So you kind of really felt this like, kind of like he was just ready to really show everybody what he's been doing and kind of take that to the next level. So I really like seeing that from Roman Reigns here tonight. Then we had a really nice pop for the Mysterios. This was a great moment for Dominic. As they mentioned on commentary, this was his first time performing in front of a live audience, and he came out. Kid has a big smile on his face, very, very happy for him. A good moment there. But then they had this very, very nice pause. And everybody knew, okay, this is it. Edge is going to come out. But they did a long enough pause where it gave everybody a moment to hear the silence that prepared you for, I kid you not, one of the biggest pops that we have heard since the return of audiences across the board, and it was Edge. The second that his music hit, I mean, I was watching on my phone, and I swear my speakers like blew out because that pop was so massive. And it was interesting to say the least, because obviously people were going to be excited to see him. He came back at the Royal Rumble. That was a huge surprise and all of that. But so much has happened since then. Like, I've been on here saying how I really don't care about Edge, and I really don't care about this Edge Roman Reigns storyline. Well, forget me, because I'm wrong, because clearly the people were very much interested in Edge and very much interested in this Roman Reigns storyline. And today, I think if you weren't necessarily sold on Edge being this babyface, the fans definitely did that for you today, because they really, really made him a stronger babyface, especially with that reaction. And you kind of can't ignore that reaction whatsoever. So he definitely got the loudest pop of the night. And I absolutely love the fact that Roman Reigns was not fazed whatsoever. He was just like, had that smirk on his face and whatnot. So that was pretty cool. All right. Matthew Chevalier says, Denise, why are you watching wrestling on your phone? So I normally watch on my TV screen, or sometimes if I'm too lazy to walk to the living room, I'll watch on my computer. However, for those of you guys who do not know, I am based out in Los Angeles. I'm in the West Coast, which sucks for us because we don't get to watch SmackDown live. SmackDown is the only show that we are not able to watch live. The only way that I am able to watch SmackDown is through the Fox Sports app. And so, I didn't really the Fox Sports app, guys. I'm so thankful for it because it lets me watch the East Coast feed, the live feed, but it's a terrible app. It has so many issues, and it doesn't sync properly when I cast it on my TV. It's all out of sync, and nobody wants to watch wrestling out of sync. Like, you see the move, and then 10 seconds later, I hear the bump. So it doesn't work. So I kind of had no choice but to watch on my phone today. So that's kind of that's why I was watching SmackDown on my phone. But anyway, so we're going to move on because this match was a pretty fun one here. So off the bat, we see Jey Uso immediately ambush Edge to kick off this match. Dominic then hits a moonsault on Jimmy. Roman then, starts elevating up that heel work. He takes Dominic, who, commentary put over the fact that this is his first time performing in front of crowds. So, this is a big moment for him. Well, Roman Reigns does not give a single damn, because Roman Reigns drags Dominic out of the ring, power bombs him onto the commentary table, literally treats him like a doll, and just yells at the crowd, "Acknowledge me." And right after that, we head on over to commercial break. When we come back from commercial, we see Rey Mysterio hit a Jey with a DDT. He gets a 2 count, and then Rey tries to go for the 619 on Jey, but Roman Reigns ends up stopping him. And then, as it seems like Roman Reigns is going to get the upper hand here, Edge gets him with a spear. And again, that was another pop from the crowd. Then we got, then Jey essentially got the win on Rey Mysterio. But post-match, we have a brawl, okay? And Edge gets the chair, and he starts hitting the Usos with the chair. Roman then gets Edge with a Superman punch. Then Roman takes a page out of Edge's playbook, takes a piece from the chair, and it seems like he's going to go for, Edge's signature spot here. But instead, before he can do anything, Edge is back up and gets him with a second spear. So that is 2 spears in one night on this opening segment. Then Edge surprisingly, I really thought that they were going to essentially start off, well, they did start off with Roman Reigns, but I thought they were going to end the segment with Roman Reigns strong. But no. Instead, they decided to have Edge essentially choke out Roman Reigns with the part of the chair like he did at WrestleMania, and Roman Reigns taps out. So what they did here, I felt this felt different, because this felt like for the most part, I feel like there's been so many times where they go against the crowd, where they don't necessarily do the things that the crowd wants to see. And we've talked about this so many times where you're like, oh, this felt like the natural thing to do, but WWE decided to do this a whole other way. This time, we did not see that on this segment. On this segment, it was quite the contrary. The fans were cheering for Edge. They were behind Edge, and they let Edge end with a strong note here in this segment. So for me, this felt like they were actually playing with the crowd's emotions, listening to the crowd, and actually giving them what they wanted to see, which seems very obvious. You know, it seems like something that every company would do, but it's not something we tend to see very often in WWE. But we saw that here tonight, and that was honestly, that made me realize that at least for today, the show was going to be different, okay? And so, guys, what did you think about this? What did you think of the opening segment with Vince McMahon coming out, Roman Reigns being the first one to come out, Edge essentially getting the pop of a lifetime, and the end result here with this match? Also, my question to you is that heading into Money in the Bank, I was fairly 1,000,000,000%. That's not even a number, but the point is that I was fully convinced that Roman Reigns was coming out as champion at Money in the Bank. Now, do I think Roman Reigns is going to lose? Not exactly, but I'm not 100% sure anymore. When I come out here and I tell you Roman Reigns is going to win a Money in the Bank, I'm not as positive as I was, 3 hours ago, essentially. I'm like 99.9% sure now that Roman Reigns is going to win. And see, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. And the reason for that is, for the most part, a lot of things are very predictable. We've been talking about this predictability for a very long time. But for a second there, I started to second guess myself. And that is a good thing. I want to second guess myself. I want to go into this and not feel like I already have everything figured out. So I was a fan of this. What did you guys think? Let's see. We're getting several comments here, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading a couple of things here. All right. So let's kick this off with Adv Devin, who says, the thing is, if Roman's character loses the title, he crumbles. He said this to Jay during their feud. If he loses the title, he's pretty much no longer the head of the table. Exactly. I just feel that I feel like they've kept Roman Reigns so strong that I don't want them to just drop the ball on everything that they have done with Roman Reigns as of right now. Even though I'm not like I said, I'm only 99.9% sure positive now. I still want to see Roman Reigns retain the title. To me, it would make things more interesting with Roman Reigns. And obviously, I feel like, we've all heard the rumors of, potential SummerSlam matchups for Roman Reigns. So given all of that, I think it's still fairly certain to say that Roman Reigns is going to win, but also it adds more intrigue to Roman Reigns that if he just keeps being this strong. And now they just at least have the babyface that they needed in Edge, because when we were at WrestleMania, he wasn't the babyface that they needed to be the polar opposite of Roman Reigns. He was not that. It was Daniel Bryan. And now, at least based on one night, based on tonight, it does feel like he is the babyface that they needed. So thank you so much to Adv Devin for sending in this comment here. And let's see, this is a comment from Grande Hero, who says, this ending with Roman tapping made me the opposite. There you go. So maybe not everybody felt the same way that I did, but at least we kind of got that a little bit. MK says, Roman isn't going to drop the title for another 300 plus days, have a long run with the bout. Dude, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but I am a sucker. And I mean a sucker for long title reigns, all right? Give them to me. I hate one of my wrestling pet peeves. Note this down because I'm probably going to forget. One of my wrestling pet peeves is short title reigns. I hate them. I love long title reigns. And that is why I've massively enjoyed what they are doing with Roman Reigns right now. And all right, we're getting several comments on this. This one is from Planet Dan ASMR, who says, just had an idea. Seth was going to curb stomp Edge's head on his Money in the Bank briefcase 7 years ago. What if Seth wins Money in the Bank again and that match at SummerSlam is for the contract? Well, obviously they had that tease later on the show with Seth Rollins and Edge, and I like that direction that they're heading in. I really do. Seth Rollins has really needed something. This isn't even just Seth Rollins. This comment could apply to almost anybody. But Seth Rollins really needed something new, something different. As much as I like the matches that he had with Cesaro, I was done with that. I was done with everything that he did with the Mysterios. Completely done with this. So I am happy that it looks like he is going to be moving on to something with Edge. And I am definitely a fan of that. And okay, send in some more comments here, guys. We got so many. I'm trying to make sure I see as many as I possibly can. If I miss yours, send it again and I'll try to get to it. Let's see. We got a comment from Pomi who says, that segment really made me even more sure Roman is retaining. WWE does the lose on TV, win on pay-per-views very often. They do a lot of that. So sometimes I try to disregard that because, again, I love to go into matches not I love to go into these matches feeling like I don't know what is going to happen. But mainly everybody here is definitely sure that Roman Reigns is going to be retaining. All right, guys, BTW, before we move on, just a friendly reminder, if this is your first time here on the stream, I am live 3 times a week here on F4W on Wrestling Observer. I cover NXT, which is so much fun because you never know what to expect off of NXT. Then I am back on Wednesdays, which is my most popular show of the week, talking about AEW Dynamite. They've been having killer shows. So if you want to hear me talk about AEW Dynamite and also what the chat has to say and all of that, make sure you guys come in on Wednesday. Friday is usually my most relaxed day of the week, but now it kind of seems like I got to put my working shoes on because things are definitely heating up here on the Blue brand. So make sure to also come in for SmackDown. And it's also a heavy wrestling week, guys. We still got Slammiversary. We got Money in the Bank. Oh, there's so much. All right, guys, let's move on. Okay, so we did have that backstage segment where Kayla interviews Edge. We kind of already talked about this, but let me recap what actually took place. So Edge says that he made Roman tap out like a little bitch and that he is going to reach into that part of himself to make himself be as manipulative as possible so that he can essentially defeat Roman Reigns. Okay, then Seth Rollins comes in. He's looking dapper. He's got this like red button up, but then he has this black suit with white stars. And I'm thinking, great, the celebrity's closet that I want to raid is actually Seth Rollins. Wow. Anyway, so he comes in. He's laughing. He's just laughing. And I'm thinking, please don't kill the crowd with all of this laughing. But they don't. He basically tells Edge that he's going to be his number one fan, that he is going to root for him at Money in the Bank because essentially he says, I'm going to win the Money in the Bank. And then he's going to finish what he started. With Edge. He's going to go after him. So with that being said, I'll repeat. I love the direction that they're heading with Edge and Seth Rollins, at least from right now. And yeah, everybody's pointing out that they need a Seth suit. Dude, I'm very curious. Like, how many suits does the guy have? Like, they got to do like a closet tour or something. If Seth Rollins does a closet tour, I'm telling you, that will get millions of views on like YouTube or wherever the hell they decide to post it, because I would watch that. Like, I want to know. I really want to know. Let's see. We got a comment from Rocco Star 87 who says, it was a bit strange to hear them sweeten the crowd noise. I thought it was unnecessary, but apparently WWE didn't trust their fans enough. I could understand if it was Raw, but SmackDown has been fine. Will be interesting to see how it'll be with the coming weeks and months. Have they said that they sweetened the crowd noise? Because to be honest, I kind of felt like that kind of felt natural to me. Like, to be honest, it really did. Like, I was keeping an eye out for like fan reactions, and everybody was, it was always very obvious when they were piping in the crowd noise, because you would hear like, woo, but then everybody in the crowd was just like this, like not even moving a muscle. But this time, like, everything actually aligned and coincided with what we were hearing and what we were seeing. So that's how I feel about that. Martin says, did you see Seth's shoes? I didn't see Seth's shoes. Honestly, I didn't look at his shoes. Dang, what'd I miss? Oh, man. All right, here we go. And this is another comment from Ashley who says that this did seem like a legit reaction tonight. Yeah, it seemed like a legit reaction to me, unless it's reported otherwise. As of right now, I feel that these were all legit reactions. All right. So let's move on to the next segment. One of my favorite people ever, Sami Zayn, the great Liberator. He comes out and he is just, man, cutting the promo of a lifetime here, right? He has a way of getting the love from the people and then with a snap of a finger, completely turning them. But he is very lovable. Anyways, Sami Zayn comes out and he says that he's purposely being excluded from Money in the Bank. I, for one, agree. He says that the people here are blinded by the production. We're blinded by the live crowds because that is what is distracting everybody from the real truth. And the real truth is that there's a conspiracy against him. Obviously, we all know of his WWE conspiracy that is targeting him. And then he says that the one thing that he hasn't had is the people in his corner, and that they are the ones who have seen that he has been victimized and persecuted on SmackDown. He asked them to make their voices be heard. And he starts chanting, "Justice for Sami, justice for Sami." But obviously, Texas, the people are like, nah, bro, like there ain't no conspiracy against you. So then he says that the yeehaws from Texas aren't on his side. And that definitely popped me. And before I move on to what happens afterwards, I just got to say, I agree with Sami Zayn. All right. Heading over to the women's side, how many of those women weren't just put into the Money in the Bank for absolutely no reason? All right. Then you have Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn nearly had to kill himself in that last man standing match to even try and qualify. The guy went through like hoops and fires and flames and all of that and didn't get put into the Money in the Bank. You know what? I definitely buy that there is a conspiracy against Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn, if you're watching this stream, I am on your side. Anyways, but let's move on because we all expected there to be some sort of surprise, right? Like we were all expecting it. It would be smart of WWE to put a surprise on the show. I wasn't expecting it here, but this is where it happened. So Sami Zayn's doing his whole big hoorah, yelling and all of that stuff. When all of a sudden you hear Finn Balor's music play and immediately it's like, oh shoot, Finn Balor's on SmackDown. Oh my God. The man with 10 abs, as Pat McAfee said. And I just got to say that this was a pretty not interesting, but yes, it was interesting and it was an exciting moment. So first of all, it was exciting because everybody pops for surprises. Everybody loves Finn Balor, all of that, seeing him do his entrance with the people. I mean, it's been forever since we have seen that, and especially with a large audience like that. And so it was interesting because first of all, we weren't expecting Finn Balor, okay? I think some people had mentioned that there was a chance that we might be seeing him on the main roster. And, obviously rumors are rumors and those were always there. But this to me feels like the right direction. And I know there's going to be some people that are like, dang, nah, like I want him back on NXT. But they really, really needed somebody like Finn Balor on the SmackDown brand because, they needed somebody that can provide, those types of work rate matches that he has. They had needed somebody with the star power. They needed somebody that, is loved by the fans and all of that. So he has everything, the total package that you need. And here's the thing too, is that Sami Zayn, like a lot of people, he was essentially doing the exact same things over and over and over again. Now, good for Sami Zayn is he has the personality to carry himself through. But the problem was that how many times as much as I love seeing him against Kevin Owens, we have seen that match a million times. And so it kind of felt like they didn't really have a direction for Sami Zayn. And now with Finn Balor essentially coming into the picture, there is finally a direction for Sami Zayn. And this was something that we definitely needed to spice up the stories that we are seeing on SmackDown. So Finn hits the coup de grace on Sami. And again, it just felt like during this portion of the show, it felt like they were putting their best foot forward to liven up the show. So thoughts. How did you guys feel about Finn Balor appearing on SmackDown? Are you a fan of it? Are you not a fan of it? Send in all of those thoughts here. All righty. So we actually have a super chat. Thank you so much to DKC Returns, who says, good show, good host. Here's $20. DKC Returns, thank you so much for sending in a super chat. For those of you guys who do not know, I do get to keep 100% of the proceeds from all super chats. So thank you so much for sending these in. I really, really thank you, all of you guys, for whenever you guys do. Thank you so much to DKC. All right, and let's see. This is a comment from Keith Duran in regards to Finn Balor, and he says, unless he brings the demon Balor needs to evolve his main roster character. See, like right now, given that, we haven't seen him on the main roster, in a moment or two, I think that right now he is good with what he's presenting. Obviously, at some point, given how that all goes, there's a possibility that might wear off. But I think right now, at least for the most part, he just needs to be Finn. He just needs to be Finn. He needs to go out there and get over with the people the way that he does. And that is what they need to do with Finn Balor. Let Finn be Finn. If you let Finn be Finn, he will definitely get over massively. So thank you so much to Keith Duran for sending in this comment here. And everybody here is basically happy about Finn Balor. We have Antonio, who says that he loved the Finn Balor return and also agrees justice for Sami. YT says loved Finn Balor returning tonight. Hope they actually use him correctly this time. I really hope so too, because that period on Raw, the last time he was there, was not necessarily all of that fantastic, sort of speak. And let's see. I think we got mainly everything here that I wanted to get. Again, guys, feel free to send in any comments, and I will try to get them through here. We actually have a super chat from Martin Carrillo. Thank you so much to Martin, who says, is Finn a good fit for SmackDown? Crowd popped for the guy. Hell yeah. And by that, I mean, he's a good fit for SmackDown because they needed him. I almost feel like we don't have the luxury of being so picky, because there's like not enough. Like, we've been seeing the same matches over and over again. Hell, if they did, and it's not even about even him being a good fit. It's just the fact that we needed more people. We needed people like Finn Balor to join the SmackDown brand. So I don't know if saying that he's a good fit is necessarily the right way to put it, but the best way to put it is we needed him. We needed him. But thank you to Martin Carrillo for going ahead and saying, I like Finn on SmackDown, but it sucks we missed the Finn versus Walter match. Aw. Man, way to go, bring me down. Well, you never know. We might get Finn Balor versus Walter. I don't know when. I hope it doesn't become one of those like dream matches that we never see or whatever. But the point is, I feel like there's a lot of people we want to see against Walter. So there's that too. But okay, we have another comment from this one is from Brandon Taylor, who says, what does the Finn return mean for the draft, though? He probably won't move, but weird SmackDown getting all these wrestlers, Zelina, Tegan, Shotsy before a proposed draft. Well, sometimes they just make sporadic decisions and all of that last minute stuff. We've saw that a lot of things have been done last minute, but to be honest, they needed to do it. They just needed to do it. They couldn't debut in front of a live audience without bringing in some people, without bringing in some surprises. And yeah, I'm curious to see if we're going to see any surprises on Raw. I really hope so. And based on what we saw tonight, I'm going to say yes. But then again, you just never know. Raw is always like a different territory. It's a different uncharted land. So I can't always say that what you think is going to happen is going to happen. You just never know. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on. So after this, we had Shotsy and Knox versus Tamina and Natty. Obviously, this is not the first time we see this match, but it's fine, I guess. Obviously, you want to have Shotsy and Knox get their moment in front of the live audience. Kind of sucks that they didn't get to make their debut in front of a live audience, but so what? They're there now, so it's fine. You have Zelina and Liv on commentary. Shotsy and Tamina kick off this match. To be honest, this match was not that great. I thought that it kind of brought down the crowd for a couple of moments, kind of brought them down a notch. The crowd still reacted to what they needed to react to, but it was kind of just like, all right, cool, whatever, let's move on. Knox does a cannonball on Natty, then hits her with the Shining Wizard and gets a 2 count. We see Liv and Zelina go at it out on the outside, and this ends up helping Knox get the win for her team. So now it looks like Shotsy and Knox, and I'm going to call her Tegan, guys, because it's weird just calling her Knox, but Tegan Knox, Shotsy and Tegan Knox will be getting a title shot at some point. And there you go, guys. Yeah, John points out that the crowd was dead. See, I wouldn't say they were totally dead for this match because, again, they reacted when they needed to, but the crowd just really didn't care. And you can't really blame them that much because they didn't really give you a reason to actually care. They're still new to seeing Shotsy and Knox and all of that, but they haven't really given us much more than that. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to Carmella versus Bianca for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So this is another one where we have to talk about crowd reactions because heading into, once it was announced that crowds would be returning, one of the people that I was like, this person's going to benefit so much from live crowds, going to benefit so much from live crowds, that was definitely Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair was the person that you could say you were starting to see that her being champion in this Thunderdome era necessarily wasn't all that great. And I started thinking like, man, they're kind of bringing Bianca down a little bit here. Like she really needs the crowd. She's one of those people where she thrives more because she is very likable and you want to root for her. You want to cheer for her. She is that person that's going to thrive a lot better with an actual audience to feed off of that energy from them. And so her reaction when Bianca came out, like she had a reaction. It wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. But later on, when she actually won the match, she had a bigger crowd reaction than when she actually came out. So I already feel like just with that, my theory is already being proven because, again, we already saw a shift in how the crowd was, reacting to her. But I did kind of feel bad for Carmella because at the top of this, I mentioned there was people that got mixed reactions, people that got huge pops, and people that got no reactions. And sadly, Carmella was one of those that hardly got no reaction. I mean, she got a couple of boos, but it was nothing to, nothing to brag about, really. So it was just kind of like, Carmella's out. That's it. And I kind of felt bad too because, they were trying to hype this up as this big match feel. And Pat McAfee even mentioned that a couple of times. And obviously, that's his job to put over these matches and all of that, right? But we all knew that this wasn't a big match. We all knew that. Like, no, I don't think anybody here, and I might be wrong and I want to speak for everybody, but I think I can fairly say that a good chunk of people probably didn't really feel like this match was that big of a deal. And so it wasn't really that much of a big deal. But anyways, so we end up seeing Bianca retain her title. Shocker, not a surprise whatsoever. And she ends up winning with the kiss of death. It was a decent match. It was not bad whatsoever. I actually pretty much enjoyed this match, and there were some good moments there. We saw Bianca hit Carmella with a vertical suplex. We saw both of them shoving each other back and forth, brawling a little bit outside the ring. We see Carmella essentially she tries to use Bianca's hair to her advantage, but then instead Bianca ends up whipping her. And again, Bianca ends up winning with the kiss of death here. And let's see if we got any comments on this, guys. Go ahead and send in your thoughts. We have quite a few. And people are asking, what is Bianca doing at Money in the Bank? As of right now, they haven't announced anything. I mean, unless they last minute announce something on social media or, sometimes they do that. They haven't announced much. I mean, Sonya Deville did say that she was not going to defend her title at Money in the Bank, and instead she was going to defend it against Carmella, which was today. So I don't know if they're going to end up adding anything for Bianca Belair, which kind of just shows you how little how little option there are for women to face Bianca that actually feel like a big match feel that could be on a pay-per-view. And so that should tell you kind of everything of the state of the SmackDown women's division. And speaking of the SmackDown women's division, we are getting a brand new face next week in Toni Storm. Toni Storm is debuting on SmackDown next week, and I'm excited because next week is going to be an interesting show. Obviously, we're going to be seeing the follow-up to tonight and everything that occurred, but they're also going to be broadcasting live from 2 locations, from Cleveland and also from the Rolling Loud Festival in Miami. So that news broke probably like, I think a week or 2 ago, where they announced that they were going to be doing a couple of live matches from the Rolling Loud Festival. And this was interesting because they haven't done anything like this as of late, or, this is the first time that they're collaborating with this rap music festival. And so this is kind of interesting. I'm curious as to what the live aspect is going to be coming out of Miami, who's going to be there, how are they going to react, what matches are they going to put on? I don't know, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see. And then it's also going to see how that affects the Cleveland audience, because usually when they have a lot of going in and out of, if they're broadcasting from more than one location, it kind of kills the people that are there, especially for Cleveland. They're probably going to be like, man, dang, we got to watch this on the screen. We might as well be at home. So that is going to be interesting to see how all of that plays out. Alrighty, everyone. So before we move on, I just want to remind you guys all, if you're watching this live or if you're watching the audio version of this, if you haven't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram @ Denise Salcedo. It is here on the screen. I'm at 23,000 followers on Twitter, and I'm really trying to hit that 30K number by the end of the year. So if you guys haven't followed me yet and you appreciate my wrestling commentary, you'll appreciate it also on Twitter, because I live tweet pretty much every single show. I do 1 million shows a week, so I share all of the live stream links on my Twitter account. And also, I do go ahead and do a lot of interviews. This week, I got to interview none other than Nikki Ash. I interviewed her for my YouTube channel, so that is up there. We talk about her new superhero character. She talks about the return of live crowds. She talks about heading into this match at Money in the Bank, and just so much there. I also got a chance to talk to Josh Alexander ahead of Slammiversary. That was another really fun conversation, and I am working towards getting some more interviews. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter so you can see when I post those up. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to Otis versus Cesaro. So this match, it was there. This was it wasn't my least favorite part of the show, because I think my least favorite part of the show was the women's tag team match. But this was kind of up there with something that I wasn't necessarily all that crazy about. But Otis essentially starts dominating a little bit at the top of this match. He keeps running his shoulder into the midsection of Cesaro multiple times. And then Cesaro gets, a couple of uppercuts on Otis. He ends up slamming him as well. But then Chad Gable ends up getting involved and suplexes Cesaro. And thus this ends the match here in a DQ. Cesaro then gives Chad Gable an uppercut and then does the swing, because the people are asking for the swing. They're begging for it. He gets 7 swings in, but then Otis stops it. And then Otis and him go at it. And then at this point, we see Otis get busted open. And this was just kind of there. I mean, I'm excited for what they're doing with Otis. They should have done this a long time ago. Speaking of the Money in the Bank, when he had the Money in the Bank, they should have done this. But other than that, it was just kind of there. I didn't really feel all that hyped for Otis Cesaro, but hopefully it picks up a little bit. But I like the fact that at least it's something new, and that I can appreciate. We actually have a super chat from Colette Adams. So thank you so much to Colette Adams, who says that Biggie spear to Seth at the start looked sick. Yes, we are going to jump into that once we get to the main event. But thank you so much to Colette Adams for sending in this super chat. And Yeah, someone said that it was the match between Otis and Cesaro was short, very, very short. It wasn't anything to necessarily completely brag about here today. Brandon says Otis can win the Money in the Bank next year and they can try again. Nah, I wouldn't want to see it. Even if they tried it the right way, I think that because of everything that they did with him as when he held the briefcase, I'm completely no longer interested if they were to do that again. So sorry, but I would like to move on from that. Now, we are moving into something that was pretty darn hilarious, and I probably should have, I'm going to upload this onto the screen, everybody, because one of the funniest moments of the night was when we had Baron Corbin essentially come out and kind of remind us all that his life sucks. Baron Corbin's life has been going down the drain. He comes out all depressed. His hair is all nasty. He's got gray facial hair. He's got a stain on his t-shirt. Can't even button it up. I mean, the guy's life is a disaster. He's broke. He starts talking about how broke he is. Oh, he might have to move in with his parents, him and his wife and his kids and all of that. And, then he announces and he starts begging people that he has now started the Corbin Fund Me. And if you go to CorbinFund.com, this is a legitimate website. Obviously, you can't donate or anything like that. That would be silly. But you do have the Corbin Fund Me website. And it basically says, due to his target goal is to get $100,000 because that would make a difference in his life. If I got $100,000, I would consider myself rich AF. But anyways, it says, due to financial difficulties, this page is currently under construction. However, Baron Corbin finds strength in the ongoing support and prayers from the WWE Universe and looks forward to your donation soon. So the poor guy can't even get the donations page running. That is just pretty messed up. I love this, guys. I really, really do. I'm a fan of this, like, sad, feel bad for me, Baron Corbin. I can't help but to feel bad for him, but not bad enough to where I'm going to give him my super chats. Anyways, so he gets down on his knees. He starts begging people. And then Kevin Owens comes out and essentially Baron's like trying to sympathize with him. He says, I know you have money. Like, please, like the people, they believe in you. Like, please help me out here. And then he kind of, throws a shot at his clothes. He says, I know you don't spend that much money on your clothes, so please help me out. And that's enough for Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens beats him up. And then Baron Corbin is just left there all sad and depressed once again. And so, this is an interesting comment. This one is from Marcus8915, who says they should have Cameron Grimes donate the $100,000 to Corbin. He should. He really should. That would be a nice little crossover. Although it does kind of feel like we're in different universes when it comes to NXT and Raw and SmackDown. It almost feels like it's not the same universe. But either way, that would actually be pretty funny. Nicholas Jacobs says that Baron Corbin's daughter now has to eat SpaghettiOs. Yeah, that was pretty funny too. Very funny. John Skyrim says, lose the crown and suddenly your car is repossessed. You lose your home, etc., etc. Who even believes this crap? Well, I think his explanation was that he messed up like some decisions, like financial decisions that he made. I forgot the exact wording, but in this backstage interview that he did, he says about how I think he invested his money in the wrong places or something. So that led to losing the crown led to him making those bad decisions. That's led to that downfall where he's losing his money. He gets his car repossessed and all of that. So I think that's the proper timeline of the story. But for the most part, you know what? It's winning me over. They've had Baron Corbin do a lot worse, I think. And this is resonating with me at least a little bit. Martin Carrillo says that Corbin Knight should be LA Knight's butler. Yeah, it looks like he could use the job. That's for sure. Because apparently we're being part of the WWE roster isn't paying enough, apparently. And all right, let's see what else we got here. I think we got Cameron 2418 says, to the broom. Advi says, it bothers me a bit that they're making this angle that could in any world be a babyface turn angle and they had to keep it heel. Corbin is just too good as a heel, I guess. Yeah, like it is like, even though he's like poor and he's saying he's poor, he's still throwing shots at people because, you know, obviously he's used to a different lifestyle and all of that. But so it kind of does feel like a little bit of a tweener thing where like, oh, you feel bad for the guy because he's broke. And let's face it, we've all been there, okay? We've all been there. We all know what it's like to be down in the dumps. At least I know I do. And then also like, yeah, all right. I feel bad for Baron Corbin. We have a comment from Tejas Reg who says, Corbin is doing some of the best heel work of his career, begging and berating the crowd at the same time. Masterful work. Poor guy having to get on his knees and have to beg people. We have a comment from Brandon who says, this Corbin storyline is out of control. I mean, you're telling me one loss of a crown and his life begins to crumble. It's so ridiculous that it's kind of funny. We'll see. Again, it seems like we all missed this big portion because they kind of really made it seem like it was like he lost a crown and then his life went to shit, right? But then there was all this other stuff that happened in between that I feel like we're all just learning about now, at least in that one backstage segment that they showed today. Alrighty, guys. So let's go ahead and move on here. We do have a funny comment, though. This one's from John, who says, Denise, you're making sense out of the stuff they didn't even think about. I try my best to make sense of what we're watching. I try to go that extra mile to, to explain to the people. I should be on creative, guys. I should be in creative. People would understand what is going on in my stories. All right. Now, it is officially time for the last segment of the night, and it is the Fatal 4-Way. Big E, Shinsuke Nakamura, Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens. This was a pretty fun match. We see right off the top, Big E does a dive onto Seth Rollins that, looked killer. We have Kevin Owens also do a dive. After the commercial break, we see Kevin Owens climb up the ladder by the commentary table, and he does an elbow drop on Shinsuke Nakamura. And I swear to God, literally, he does the elbow drop, right? And the camera does like 15 cartwheels. I was like, man, that is impressive. I don't know what went down, but the camera movement in this ended up taken from the spot that Kevin Owens did. So that was kind of funny. But we end up seeing Seth Rollins ends up winning this match, pins Big E. And so that was how we ended the night. So there you guys go. That was SmackDown here today. A very, very fun show. For the most part, a couple of surprises, and just so happy to see crowds back. Guys, send in any last final comments before we wrap up this show. And just a friendly reminder that my next show here will be on Tuesday for NXT. I will be back here Tuesday. Then again, Wednesday for AEW Dynamite, and then SmackDown Friday night. We have a super chat from Lane Dashko. This is the last super chat that I will read for tonight. So thank you so much to Lane, who says, hey, Denise, was it me, or do you think that SmackDown didn't live up to the live crowd hype? No offense, I think AEW did a better first live crowd show. Honestly, it was two totally different shows, okay? I don't feel... Look, when AEW did Road Rager and Fyter Fest, I really, really enjoyed the shows. Like, there was so much that happened, and just the flow of the show and all of that was fantastic. And part of me was afraid that, WWE wasn't going to be able to pull off a similar thing. And while they didn't have as many surprises as AEW, I do think that they did a pretty great first show with the crowd back. So I do think that it was a great show, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't have liked all the other stuff that I mentioned, in the last 58 minutes that I've been talking about the show. And I wouldn't have felt as excited coming on to talk about the show. That's how I know. Obviously, that's how I know if I enjoyed a show. Am I excited? Am I happy? Am I looking forward to the upcoming shows? My answers to all of that is yes. So AEW did present a very different show. I do think that AEW Road Rager was definitely a stronger show. I do think AEW Fyter Fest was a stronger show, but I think given that I wasn't expecting all of this from SmackDown tonight. I think that it definitely did exceed my expectations, and I'm glad. And now I hope that they keep that momentum going, and I hope that they keep whatever mentality they had today. I hope they keep that going, not just for SmackDown, but for Raw, even NXT and all of that. So those are my thoughts on that. Thank you so much to Lane for sending in a super chat. I really, really appreciate you for that. And we do have one more super chat. This one is from DKC Returns. Thank you so much to DKC who sends in a happy face. And that is a great way to wrap up this show. Alrighty, everyone. I will see you guys on Tuesday for NXT. Do not forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to spread the word about my show. If you guys had a good time, tweet about it. Tell your friends about it. That really does help out my show. And yeah, make sure to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram @ Denise Salcedo. Enjoy your weekend of wrestling, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Goodbye, everybody.